And that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Bob Harris, and don't forget that if you want to hear more music from Music Fest, then there's a full 4 hours of highlights available right now on BBC Sounds. As well as that, the CMA Awards take place this coming Wednesday evening. I'll have all the reaction from the ceremony on my Radio 2 Country show at 9 on Thursday evening. And then I'll be introducing the whole thing with performances from Morgan Wallen, Lainey Wilson, Carly Pearce and loads of others. This is at 7 o'clock next Sunday evening. And that's all right here on Radio 2, on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 10 o'clock. This is Nikki Cardwell. The UN Secretary-General says global warming is changing the world at a catastrophic pace, devastating lives and livelihoods on every continent. Antonio Guterres recorded a message for delegates at the major UN conference on tackling climate change, which began in Egypt earlier. Countries across the world will come under pressure to pledge to do more to cut their carbon emissions. Daniel Carman, who advised President Obama on climate change, is at the conference. He says developed countries should stop dragging their feet.
We have so many solutions that are ready to go. We have low-cost clean energy. We understand energy efficiency. Many countries are investing in electric vehicles and charging. And industrialized nations have been, shall we say, cheap in only doling out bits and pieces where we need a wholesale, whole world approach, and that has been lacking.
Boris Johnson, who's also at the conference, will urge delegates not to allow the worsening economic situation to undermine the fight against climate change. The former Prime Minister will say that we must end the defeatism that's crept in since last year. The government says it has contingency plans for dealing with any strike by NHS nurses and has urged them to consider the impact on patients. The Royal College of Nursing is expected to announce in the coming days that its members have voted for strikes over pay. In Scotland, members of 2 health unions have already voted for industrial action. The Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, says the NHS is recruiting too many people from overseas. He says immigration is not the solution to a staffing crisis in the health service and has called for more recruitment from within the UK.
We should be training people in this country. Of course, we need some immigration, but we need to train people in this country. And we need funded places. But of course, one of the reasons that the NHS is struggling is because it's such hard work. The conditions are so hard because the NHS has been run down. My wife works in the NHS, so this is a daily conversation about how tough it is in her hospital.
In the Premier League, it's been a good start to Unai Emery's tenure as Aston Villa manager. His team beat Manchester United 3-1. Newcastle continued their good season with a 4-1 win at Southampton. Crystal Palace beat West Ham 2-1 and Tottenham lost to Liverpool by the same score. Arsenal have returned to the top of the table after a 1-0 win over Chelsea. The Gunners midfielder Martin Odegaard was pleased.
A big game, difficult games. Played against a good team, of course, and I think the performance we had here today was brilliant. I think from the start we controlled the game and we were the dominant team, and then of course in some parts of the game you need to fight and protect the goal, and we did that well as well. So yeah, very good performance.
And the weather: showers overnight in Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, Wales and the north and south of England. The rest of the UK will be mainly dry. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 10.
Now, BBC Radio 2 Unwinds with Angela Griffin.
Ooh, bonfire scent in the air. Mull drinks are on the stove. Have you cracked out the hat and gloves yet? It is officially chilly. And you know what that means, don't you? It means you need warming up. This is Radio 2 Unwinds with me, Angela Griffin. I will be your guide for the next couple of hours. I'll have music on the way from A Tribe Called Quest, Keane and Leanne La Havas. Before all that though, let's get into this gorgeous Bill Withers cover from the Lighthouse family. What a combination. It's Ain't No Sunshine here on Unwinds.